And at the end, one of the women put her hand up and she said, I think my finances are a mess. I'm not sure. Is it too late for me? No, honey, it is not too late. It is never too late. And it doesn't have to be that hard.
Confidence comes from doing, and it takes courage to first make the call, say out loud that you've never done this before, say to yourself, I really don't know the basics, and then take that first step. That's very courageous.
Divorce can be emotionally and financially overwhelming. That's why I'm teaming up with Sunny Wishart, president and founder of A la Carte Financial and a certified financial planner. We will show you how to understand all things money without feeling ashamed, overwhelmed, embarrassed. You will learn more, ask questions. No question is a dumb question. Welcome to Money with Sunny. Let's get into it.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Money with Sunny. My name's Wendy Rovers, founder of Divorce Thrive. I'm a divorce coach. Welcome Sunny Wishart, an advice-only financial planner at A la Carte Financial.
Good
Sunny,
morning.
today we're going to talk about women who come into your office and they say, my finances are a mess. It's all chaos. So why bother even getting started? We were just talking prior to our recording here, and Sunny was just at a conference, and she can speak to this. She sees this every day. Sunny, take it away.
Yeah, I didn't know where to start with this, so I've got some things I definitely want to speak to, but I was hosting a seminar on Wednesday, and I was speaking to some seniors, um, and it was just some basic financial health checkup stuff for seniors, trying to keep it super simple. And at the end, one of the women put her hand up and she said, I think my finances are a mess. I'm not sure. Is it too late for me? And so of course, I think she's in her 80s and no, honey, it is not too late. It is never too late. And it doesn't have to be that hard. And it's very important to do that, to tidy it up, because you have to think about what you're leaving in your wake, right? And you have to think about the people you're leaving all that stuff with. And if it's a mess, you're leaving them your mess. And that's not very kind. So I said, absolutely never too late. And it doesn't have to be that daunting. And it felt kind of powerful because I could see her tearing up because you can see the worry and the fear. Like, oh, yeah, I don't know what I'm leaving behind. I don't know what everyone's going to have to do. And there's so much more to say on this topic about why you tidy it up, and let alone who you're leaving it to. There's so much more. But this one was very poignant because this woman has obviously had this going on for how many years?
Mm-hmm.
Probably her whole life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it's never too late to get going, get started. When someone comes into your office and they just feel tapped out, worried, just don't know where to start, where do we get going? How do you talk to them about this? First you calm down, realize that this is important. You can do it one step at a time. It's overwhelming and it's embarrassing. You feel like I'm 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 years old and I still haven't figured this out and I still don't know where I'm at. So take us through the process. Like, how do we get going?
Mm-hmm. Have to start with baby steps. It can't be sweeping. I find with the overwhelm comes too many worries. So we're
Mhm.
sitting there and they're like, I am worried about my debt. I am worried about not making enough money or spending too much money.
Mhm.
Or I'm worried about my retirement planning, my kids' education planning. And it's like, okay, we have to take all those and we have to start somewhere and we have to start small. because if you start covering all those concerns at once, it's too much. It's taking way too much brain power. So we sit and we have a very raw conversation about what are your immediate pain points and what is going to help you get on track to work towards all those other things you're worrying about later.
Hmm.
So we have to slow the roll, and oftentimes pain points come down to just there's just a little too much going on. We need to just simplify, and we're going to start doing this one thing. Just do that one thing and see the progress and the change that that makes, and then we'll move to the next thing.
So one step at a time. Yeah. Yeah. And what do you find are women's biggest concerns? What are the biggest, blocks and obstacles that get in our way of taking that first step or making the call to you or saying, you know what, financial independence is important for me? What are the biggest obstacles?
Think it's a very root obstacle. I can't say like it's this financially or that financially. It seems like it's more of a the sense of not feeling organized, not feeling confident about having a strategy happening, feeling like it's a feeling. So they're feeling like they're floundering around
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have a strategy. And that's the root obstacle, is that I don't think I know what I'm doing. Not very confident. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we're going to start with. We're going to create a strategy so you can feel confident that you're not floundering around anymore. These are your next steps. So I'll start with the, bits and bites of this is what you're going to do. But it starts with, okay, you're just feeling not confident about what's going on right now, be it the structure of your banking. Oftentimes it's something like that. We can just change the structure of your banking, and that can change everything.
Mm-hmm. And you can guide them through this one step at a time. So, and I think confidence comes from doing, and it takes courage to, first make the call, say out loud that you've never done this before, say to yourself, I really don't know the basics, and then take that first step. That's very courageous. And then once you do that, and you build that little win and you stack that little win on top of the next little win on top of the next little win, that's where the confidence comes. So it's perfectly normal to feel small and not confident right now because you've never done it. This is normal. So if you're feeling a lack of confidence and an embarrassment and kind of you're shaming yourself for living this many years and not figuring out your financial situation and not understanding your numbers, that's okay. One little step at a time, you'll build that confidence, you'll build those gains, and you'll realize you can just keep on going, keep on doing, but it does take action. You need to take action. And that's what I'm hearing. What do you think, Sunny?
Absolutely. You have to start, because otherwise you're going to be that woman that I met the other day that has been living like this her whole life. It likely gets way more overwhelming the more you let it fester.
Hmm.
So the sooner you start, the easier it is, obviously. And it doesn't have to be an epic event. I do start very small, depending on how overwhelmed the client appears to be.
Hmm.
I can take it right back. It's just so good. We could just start with these little things. It doesn't have to be a huge overhaul of your money and everything's wrong. It's not always that way. Sometimes it's actually running pretty good, and I'm like, I'm impressed. You're doing all right for someone who seems so worried.
Hmm. And when someone comes to you and they're asking themselves, they're saying to themselves, this is a big mess. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. How long does it take usually for someone to get a basic, clear understanding of their financial situation? What does the time frame look like from the first meeting when they meet with you? They've decided they're gonna do it. They're gonna take action. They're going to do what it takes. Is this years? No.
No, so, despite starting with, like a baby step strategy, I'm still going to have an overall picture. As a planner, we paint the picture. So I am still going to be able to do that and just kind of lay eyes on how everything is going. So it is quite easy to just take that picture and paint it. And that is usually, so we'll have our meeting where we do our data intake kind of thing, where I'm gathering information from you in a very conversational way. And then once I receive all the firm information, all the real stuff I need to roll up my sleeves, when I sit down with you and present to you the strategies that I recommend, generally we are going to have a higher picture of this is your overall financial picture, and this is where you're going to start.
Hmm. And what's the time frame?
It depends on how long. This is where we get a little stuck because sometimes I do have to collect quite a bit of information, and it's tough because you have to go collecting all these documents, and that
Mhm.
can be a bit of an obstacle. And that's where I think some overwhelm kicks in. I do want to figure out a better strategy for that because that's when you're starting to get all your statements and stuff like that. You start going, oh, I'm looking at everything.
Yeah.
Like, just send it to me. Don't worry. But we can do it all in under 2 months.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you just don't know where to begin, it starts with finding the right person to work with, such as yourself. This is what I'm hearing. Give Sunny a call, paint the picture, and if you're prepared to gather the documents and do the work, within 2 months, you can have a pretty clear understanding of where you are. And then you can start to figure out where you want to go. And that's when the exciting stuff starts to happen. What do you want to save for? What trip do you want to take? How much do you want to leave for your kids? Do you need to be asking your boss for an increase in pay? Do you want to start a side hustle? I mean, there's so many options. And that's where it can get fun and exciting. So right now, the chaos, the stuck, the overwhelm, just make the call. Find the person that you're comfortable working with, who is the expert when it comes to money. And within a couple of months, you can have a pretty clear picture of where you're at. Is that right?
Hang on.
Bang on. Okay, perfect. So make the call. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you're sitting there saying to yourself, I can't do this. This is too much. I don't know where to start. Make the call. Get started. That's the courageous first step to building the confidence, to creating financial freedom in your life, to becoming financially independent. So thanks for chatting with me today, Sunny. This is always great. Hope it benefited all of you. You are loved, you are awesome, you are worthy, and you are perfect just the way that you are.